Hello, this is Dragon Blitz, and I wanted to make a short video explaining how to use the Castlevania Symphony of the Night randomizer tool developed by Wild Mouse. First thing you're going to need is you're going to want to have a ROM file of Symphony of the Night in bin and queue format. It doesn't really matter if it has 2 tracks or not. The version that I've always had has 2 tracks. You're going to need to acquire this yourself. Just Google it if you need it. And I also recommend that you take the files here and you create a separate folder for the vanilla version of the game as well as the randomized version that you will be making later. You don't want to accidentally save over the vanilla version because it's important that you use the vanilla version every single time you try and create a new seed, and I'll be going over that later. The other thing you are going to need is a emulator or some means of playing the randomized ROM. I'm going to be using BizHawk because that's the emulator that I choose to use when I play the game. And from there, we'll go into actually using the site itself. So in order to make a randomized ROM for Symphony of the Night, just go to soten.io in any web browser. I use Chrome. I know Chrome usually works the best, I want to say, for creating a randomized ROM. I think there are some bugs that exist in other web browsers, so I just use Chrome. What you're going to need to do is you could either drag the bin file or you can find it using the file locator right here. So what I do is you would drop track 1 if you had multiple tracks for the bin file. So for here, I'm just going to drop track 1. And once the site has the file to randomize, you can look into like different seed preferences. Like you can name the seed here. You could see some of the weird names that I've come up with before. This is so that way you and a friend, if you're racing, can have the same seed, or if you have a particular seed name you wanted to try out. The presets here are all explained with this little question mark button. For example, the safe preset requires no speedrun or glitch knowledge, and you could just go into the game blind. Casual is another example of one that you can go into blind. It's a little bit easier than safe. It's a little more casual. Adventure, you need extensive map knowledge because you're going to be basically checking every item in the game. Speedrun requires you to know some of the speedrun techniques used in the glitchless speedruns. Glitch requires like extensive glitch knowledge. It gives you some starting equipment to use. And then empty hand is kind of a challenge run where you don't get any weapons whatsoever. The options down here are mostly for showing the spoilers or not, and it shows which kind of spoilers once you create the actual ROM itself. Once you have all of that set up, you just click randomize. It's going to ask where to save the file. This is where the separate folder comes in, and you would save it into the separate folder under the same name. This is going to take a while because it takes quite a bit of CPU power. As you can see here, it's like maxing out my CPU. In order to randomize the ROM itself. This can take up to a few minutes, so you just gotta want to let it wait. Okay, and once the process of creating the randomized bin is done, it'll give you the actual track or the bin file here. It'll append the seed name to the end of it if you put that in the settings. What I like to do is I find the file that I want to randomize. I make sure that it's an exact copy of the vanilla version of the game, and I just click over track 1 and save it over track 1. It'll ask if you want to replace it. Just say yeah, I do. The download should be pretty quick. It's a small file size. You're going to see that the website itself has changed. It's going to tell you the seed name and the starting equipment. You probably don't want to scroll down unless you want to spoil yourself as to what stuff is going on in the seed. It also gives you solutions down here. So if you're new to speedrunning or new to just playing Symphony of the Night, this could be useful if you get lost or don't know what to do next. Yeah, and from there, all you have to do is go to your emulator of choice. And what I do is, since I have them separated into 2 separate files, it's really easy for me to know which one I'm going to be playing. So if I wanted to play Vanilla Soten, I would just open up the queue of Vanilla Soten. And if I wanted to play the randomizer, I would just open up the queue for the randomizer. So if I open that up, I should be playing the randomizer here. And from here, we should be able to see. There we go. That this is indeed the randomized ROM. It'll have the seed name at the top, and it'll also tell you what kind of randomizer it is. So from there, you can just play like normal. Yeah, I hope you found this helpful, and go out and play some Soten Randomizer.